At 2 o'clock this morning, daylight savings time ended, as you know. And so tonight it will be dark around 5 p.m. And it's interesting because, at least for me, the memory is still so fresh in my mind of those long evenings where we were outside at 9 p.m. and there was still light in the sky. Our daylight hours were long and extravagant, and now the hours of darkness are plenty. We are at an interesting moment right now. These few days surrounding us include Halloween, a full moon, All Saints Day, All Souls Day, Samhain.
Cinco Dias de Muertos.
A decisive national election, and an ongoing global pandemic. Whew, that is a lot. You may not celebrate or acknowledge any of the holidays that come from October 31st through November 2nd. But they carry with them an ancient connection with our ancestors who have passed on. There is an otherworldliness about this time of year, the abruptness of the darkness arriving. Along with all the other things that are happening right now, it may cause a person to have a lot of feelings, to perhaps feel anxious, afraid, restless, uncertain, overwhelmed. Almost everyone I speak to these days is worried about Tuesday and what will happen next. As we gather at the precipice, this precipice of darkness, not sure of the future, I stand in awe of the resilient nature of humanity. I am thinking about that old woman from Czechoslovakia who drew a chalice in the sand to remind her of her own fire, her own cup of courage. I'm thinking of our Unitarian ancestors and the story of the chalice. I'm thinking about their dedication to be of help. I'm thinking about this morning right here with our costumes and our silly hats. And I'm grateful for the children and the childlike qualities in us to be silly, that incite us to be playful, to use our creativity for fun and smiles and laughter, to find joy in the midst of overwhelm. I am in awe of the resilience of humanity, to find laughter in hard times, to find hope in dire circumstances, to bring sparkles and blossoms of light into the darkness. This is our nature. This is the capacity with which we come. Our Unitarian ancestry includes courageous acts of caring, wanting fairness and justice for everyone, of holding in our hearts and minds a vision of a life where inclusion and acceptance of one another is the basis that we build upon. The story of the flaming chalice became the symbol of our UU faith, and it is one of courage and creativity, symbolically giving a healing drink to others who need it in a spirit of sacrifice. Symbols help us remember, and a reminder can make a big difference. As we get swept along in the currents of our life in the days and the week that go by, we sometimes do forget what is at our core, what it is we are grounded in, our most basic truths. When we gather here together and light this symbol of strength and freedom and justice, we remember. We remember what we stand for. When we gather and light this flame, we remember this light we carry, kindling in us a new sense of purpose, remembering our kinship with this community and all the UUs, past, present, and future, and our commitment collectively to justice and to love. I encourage you, if you have time at home, to find a cup and a candle and make a home chalice that you can light daily to remember and to claim your belonging and your solidarity with those who fill this cup with healing waters. As I pondered the title of this service during the week, The Healing Cup, a line from a Mary Oliver poem kept coming to my mind. The line is, "Every morning there's my own cup of gladness." So I went and looked up the poem and I read it to myself out loud, and I'd like to read it to you. Just now, the wren from Carolina buzzed through the neighbor's hedge. A line of grace notes I couldn't even write down, much less sing. Now he lifts his chestnut-colored throat and delivers such a cantering praise. For what? For the early morning, the taste of the spider, for his own small cup of life that he drinks from every day, knowing it will refill. All things are inventions of holiness, some more rascally than others. I'm on that list too, though I don't know exactly where. But every morning there's my own cup of gladness, and there's that wren in the hedge above me with his blazing song. For his small cup of life that he drinks from every day, knowing it will refill. Mary Oliver, once again, for me, put her finger right on the truth. Our own cup of life that we drink from every day, knowing it will refill. Knowing it will refill. We each have this cup, and though sometimes it feels as though it has been empty for far too long, it will refill. It is in this filling and emptiness and refilling that shows us that all things are inventions of holiness. All things are holy, us too, inventions of holiness. Somehow this knowing, this truth can fill our cup, can give us a longer perspective and reconnect us to the sacred. And because we can never, ever be separate from each other, interdependent as we are, when our cup is filled, it does sometimes overflow and fill someone else's empty cup. The significant thing about our chalice symbol is that it has two parts. The cup, the container that can be filled with fresh water offered to quench the driest thirst. There's also something soothing about the image of a cup. It holds something. It contains something precious. But our cup also contains a flame. Flame and fire symbolize spirit, and our own luminous spirit burns brightly in whatever darkness we encounter. Fire warms us. Fire can burn away all that we no longer want to carry, including burning away our fears, our confusion, a narrowness of vision. This flame is a constant light we carry with us. Sufi poet Rumi says, "Do not worry if all the candles in the world flicker and die. We have the spark that starts the fire." At a time in the world where our attention is so very outwardly focused, and we are engaged in the helpless churning feeling of national politics, and we listen to news upon news, it's easy to forget that there is anything else. And I am here to remind you that there is. The root of the word holy is blessed and whole. There is holiness all around us, blessings and wholeness all around us and in us. The chalice symbol of our faith is a reminder, and reminders can make a very big difference. Remember that within you and me, all of us, is a healing cup and a bright flame, blessings and wholeness. We nurture one another with love. We shine the light of justice into this weary world. We carry our chalice into the darkness. I'd like to end my words with a poem written by Reverend Karen Johnston. Inexplicable, how we rise each morning instead of burying our heads under bed covers and sewing them shut. Why we keep on welcoming babies with bone-deep joy to this wounded world. How we fill burlap sacks with grit and gratitude, our hands shredded as we drag one over the other. How we refuse the daily pull towards greedy dark, keeping at least one toe, some of us a whole torso in the light. Inexplicable. It's what makes a poem worth writing, worth reading, worth flooding the world with redundant, flawed attempts at explanation. It's just the way it is. There's no other way. Stumbling every time, practice or no, just part of the bargain, the unavoidable, intractable, inexplicable bargain of being alive. So may it be. Thank you.